Okay, what we're going to do is do a round robin. Basically, what I want you to do is introduce yourself and how long have you been doing natural farming?
My name is Chang. I'm an instructor, natural farming instructor, and I've been doing this natural farming since 2008 when Master Joe came first time and gave a seminar at the University of Asia.
Hi, I'm Mike Hubbel, and I've been doing natural farming now with the pigs for almost 2 years. We've raised 2 batches of little weaners now and sold them all. And we've also been doing some natural farming on our place out in Hubbel.
Hi, I'm David Wong from Honolulu. We've been doing natural farming from about, I guess I'm the newest guy on the block, probably June 2010, and we started with the pigs in February 2012 this year.
I'm Julius Ludvico from Oahu. I think I'm the newest guy on the block. Started natural farming last summer. We started raising pigs just a couple months ago, in fact. And we have chickens, ducks, and goats along with those. And we're also we're actually copying what Kim Chang and Mary Lawrence are doing with the soybeans that you guys saw on the slide.
Okay. Next question is, why are you doing natural farming with pigs? And I don't want to hear because Mike DuPont told me to go do it. Okay? So please give your honest opinion, what you have learned, and where are you going to go from here.
Well, after I took the natural farming course, 2008, because it's hard. Sounds really, really good, but you have to see it to believe it. Because nobody doing natural farming here at the time. So we had a natural farming tour to go to Korea. So 9 of us actually went there, right? No, not in the first time. But anyway, Mike DuPont and some other people went. And then when we went to pig pen, it was true. There's no smell. All these pigs are running around. Actually, even one pig, you have in a conventional way of raising pig, there's a pig there. you don't want to go nearby. But then it was really eye-opening. So I start doing, in the beginning, actually, I just started playing with the inputs, and make one input and test them out. And then that grew more and more, and I tried with all kinds of plants. And then I started raising chicken 2009, and Master Joe's way. And then it was so easy and no smell. I have about 90 chicken now. And then you will see tomorrow, you cannot smell anything. And then I started raising pig. Actually, that was so funny. I was just thinking, and then all this material, for the pig pen, where am I gonna get it? I have to buy everything. And then all of a sudden, big rain came, and I have a kind of empty lot in the back, like a forest. And then this big tree fell down to my property. I said, that's the sign. So I started building 12 by 12 pig pen, and most of things were free because those tree fell down. That was my base thing, and then all the trimming from my yard. That was my another natural material. And I only had to buy the straw. That's it. Because I make everything, right? I'm all for, all the inputs. So, yeah, that's how it started. And then now my pig is a little over 1 year old, and people doesn't know I have pig. My neighbor doesn't know. She doesn't make even noise and no smell. It's just wonderful. So easy. And then also, since I started natural farming, I don't have waste at all. Only waste I have is plastic. Yes, thank you.
Hi, my wife Liz and I have been raising chickens and doing organic gardening for years and years. And when we heard about natural farming a couple years ago, we were very surprised too. In a 1-hour class that Dr. Park gave, went on for 4 hours, and everybody that was there, probably 30, 40 people, stayed for the full 4 hours for a 1-hour class to find out what this magic is that we were seeing. And at the end of that class, first time I'd ever heard about it, Dr. Park says, oh, by the way, we're going to Korea in a month. Does anybody want to go? And I raised my hand because I just thought, well, this is something that was meant to happen for us. And so we did. We went to Korea with Kim and David, and we saw plants and animals and all kinds of neat stuff going over there. And the piggery was pretty neat. I wasn't totally into the piggery back then, but I really was into the plant part because we've been raising different crops here and trying to transfer our Idaho farming experience to Hawaii farming experience just wasn't happening, and so we thought this might be the answer. But anyway, after we got back and we were trying the natural farming stuff, we decided that chickens that we could raise wasn't enough meat for us. We wanted more meat, more animal fat, and we couldn't raise a cow. We didn't have the pasture, so we wanted to grow good pork. We wanted to be happy about the pork we ate. We wanted good pigs. We wanted safe pork. And so we thought natural farming was the way to do it, and I remembered about the pigs in Korea. And so we designed our own small, it's got 6 pens, and they're for breeding only, not for raising much bigger. In Hawaii County, we can have 4 sows and raise their young up to weaning size before you have to have a waste management plan. And so that's what we did. We're in a residential area. We have only a little less than a half an acre lot. We have houses on both sides of us. All of our neighbors never knew we had pigs until we told them, and they want to buy them from us. So it worked out pretty good. So now we have a source of pork, and it's really, really good. The people that we have a huli huli pig roast for really liked our pig. They said it was the best one they've ever had. We feel like we're making good food for us now, and we're going to keep going that way. We're not making any money doing this yet. Buying food is really expensive. We're using a lot of store-bought pig food, and the corn prices are just going to keep going up. What we've been doing to kind of mitigate that is starting to grow different tropical foods that pigs can eat, and that's my challenge right now, is finding the right tropical foods to make a complete protein and carbohydrate mix for pigs. And so far, what grows best here is sugarcane. Sugarcane can be a huge part of the crop for a pig. They can juice it themselves. All you gotta do is cut it into 1-inch pieces and feed it to them. They chew on it all day long and spit out the bagasse. It goes back into the pen and helps the microbes grow. So it's going to be a great energy food for them. Another one that I found that's growing really well is mulberry. The mulberry tree produces leaves that are huge and a really good balanced protein for the pig. And you can feed lots of them to the pigs before, actually you can feed as much to the pigs as they can eat. And they do really good on getting the protein out of that and digesting it. Everything that we feed them can be helped by adding the IMO4 or the 3 and breaking it down along with the fish amino acids and the fermented plant juice. Will help break down those the leaves and help the pigs assimilate that protein better. And we're just going to keep trying it, and we're going to try to make it profitable. And I feel better about the meat I'm eating now. I don't have to eat chicken all the time. There's already grass-fed beef here, thanks to Mike. That's really good, so we can just buy that. And that's where we're at right now.
Mike DuPont is correct. I I didn't start because Mike asked me to. The correction is Mike ordered me to. Originally, I was a dairyman. We ran 8,000 cow herd in Honolulu. So the advantage that I had was that we understood to a high degree how to manage microorganisms. The cow rumen is basically a microorganism brewing system. We were into chelated minerals before it became popular with human beings. We were already into pH balancing with sodium bicarbonate, magnesium oxide, way before humans decided that Kangen water is really good for you and it actually helps your health. So, and we fed yeast to encourage, foster the growth of microorganisms. So in 2010, on April 1st, which was the Title 8 day, Cho was teaching class, and he basically was talking about managing a rumen, except it's in the ground. So there's a lot of synergisms in that process, and it also met the critical test that I was using after we closed the dairy. I set 3 parameters in my own mind as rules that we needed to establish before we could restart anything that we were going to do with agriculture. The first rule is we don't want to be dependent on Matson, so it has to be self-sufficient. The second rule is we don't want to be dependent on oil because oil will continue to escalate because it's a finite product. And the third is we didn't want to have a market that's regulated by the government. So the system that natural farming falls under fit well within those categories. So we attempted to start off. And the progression was fairly easy in the terms of understanding the system. It sounds complex when you first look at it, but it really isn't. The difficulty is, in our situation, we're trying to create critical mass. So we're farming over 9 acres, and we are raising, since February, we're up to about 50 pigs now. The difficulty is I can only go as fast as my employee. So the transition between moving my thoughts to an employee is huge. It's much, well, probably as difficult as it is with you trying to understand what the heck is natural farming, or what the heck is microorganism. And the famous process words that I hear almost daily is, boss, it's not going to work. So we had to try, in the progression, we tried test lines in the plants, test plots, then we moved from that to quarter acre, then from that to a half an acre, then to a whole full acre. And then in progression, we're trying to educate the employees. So on the pig side, we decided that we were going to try in the same progression because it's a learning process. Much more difficult than it seems because you as individual owners and farmers, you're already struggling with what the heck is IMO, what the heck is plant fermented juice, etc., etc., etc. Imagine me trying to tell an employee that this is what I'm going to do and it's going to be successful. Most of the guys that I work with or who work for me have some agriculture experience to a lot of agriculture experience. So it's kind of like, boss, it's not going to work. I know it's not going to work. Don't even try. So the progression has moved in the pig pens, and if you can imagine this, we started by digging a big trench, and you know, it's kind of like, are you going to put pigs in here? No, they're going to go on top of it. Are you joking, right? No, I'm not. So we slowly moved it, and the net gist of it is, we're learning. People have to adjust your eyes. It's very critical. So all I can tell you now is, about once a month, one of my employees asks if they can bring their family there. over the weekend. And that's the progression that it is. They're so proud of what they're doing that they're bringing their families, because obviously they're going home and saying, we got pigs that don't smell. And it's the same issue, right? You can't believe it, they can't believe it, so they got to bring their families to come and see. And the first time I said this, they said, boss, can we bring my family? I said, of course you can. So, you're kind of expecting one car, maybe 6 people. They show up with a convoy, and there's like 50 guys come home. And they're all doing the same thing, they walk into the pens. And then you got progression where you have fellow farmers who come in and say, oh, we just happen to be in the area, can we come and visit you? And what they want to see is the pig pen. And the first progression is, well, when you can clean this thing? I mean, obviously you got to dig out all this stuff, or we're not intending to dig it out. Total silence. And then a month later they show up again, oh, we just happen to be in the area, can we come and visit? And they want to see if we dug it out. And we didn't dig it out. So today, they're convinced that I come in at night with a doggy pan and scoop it all up.
I still don't know why Mike invited me to be in this panel. Maybe I should sit over there and follow this guy. But yeah, if you guys get the chance, go visit David Wong's farm, Southern Swine. I've been there before it even got started. Mike took me there, but they're doing some great stuff. As far as mine is concerned, I pretty much copied what Kim Chang. She's kind of like my mentor. I even got her plans for her pig pen. I modified it a little bit to suit my where I'm at. David has employees. I have myself, and sometimes my wife. So I don't have equipment to move anything. So, and I'm kind of lazy. If I put it there, chances are I'm not gonna move it again. So, yeah, for the past, I'm actually not mad, but disappointed that Pat's not here. Pat O'Sullivan, he's supposed to be in the panel, but I got my pigs from him, and I guess they converted some of their pens into natural farming. You should have seen my daughters when we went to go pick up the pens. I mean the pigs. They had their fingers up their noses the whole time. So they were begging me like, "Oh, Daddy, can we go back in the truck?" They couldn't stand it. But now, my kids climb up the pen. Always to look at the pigs. Like you don't hear the, "Oh, Daddy, this stinks." So, but yeah, you gotta see it. Cause the first time I saw Mr. Chang's farm out at Kurdistan, it blew me away because we used to raise pigs when we were kids. We had 2 pigs at a time, and it was my older brother's job to wash that thing down. And I tell you, I mean, it stunk, and we lived in a subdivision. It was a residential area. Right next door was a empty lot, and oh, by the way, this was in the Philippines. So my mom made a hole in the wall. We had a concrete wall, made a hole in the wall from where the pigs were, and then the runoff basically went to our neighbor's empty lot. So you knew, and that was common practice back there, I guess. So you knew that somebody had pigs because, man, it just. But yeah, and then so I told my mom I'm gonna do this, and she was laughing at me because she knows, right? But I had my cousins come over. They raised pigs too, and they were asking, "So where's the pigs?" I go, "Dude, they're right there." I even took them to Kim Chang's one time, my cousin, and he was like, "Oh, so where's the pig?" And we were in the car. He's like, "Bro, right there." And he's like, "Where?" "Right there." And sure enough, he was blown away because we grew up with pigs, and it's I don't know, it's just weird. And I guess that's the part we don't understand, the microorganism. At least I don't. God knows how much education I have, but some of the stuff that they talk about, or what might talk about having cinder, biochar, the logs, the green waste. I'm telling you right now, I didn't do the biochar, I didn't do the cinder, I did the logs, I did some waste, I didn't inoculate the IMO, I just threw it out there. That's all I did. No, seriously, I just threw it out there. But I can tell you right now, it doesn't stink. I think there's an ordinance or a law that the pig pen has to be 300 feet away from your house. Mine's about maybe 20 feet. Oh, by the way, there's no state whatever here, right?
I don't care where it is.
All right, I'm not telling you where I am, but I'm in $1 million subdivision, not a subdivision, but $1 million home area. I mean, these guys, they do anything. I mean, it's like an anything goes kind of area, but once they get a whiff of it, they're gonna start asking, or they're gonna start telling on you, because these are the type of people. These are my neighbors, basically. I think my ducks stink more than the pigs. So, but yeah, like what Mike said, the pigs, like when we first got the pigs from Pat, so I put them in the pen. I'm like 10 feet away, and they know I'm coming because they'll be in one corner. Okay, after a couple weeks, I'd go in the pen, and they would come up to me and start chewing on my pants or whatever. They even bit my wife's hand one time. That's just how crazy it was, because I don't know what's going on, but it's going on. So with the design, like I said, I copied Kim Chang's. So what I'm gonna try and do now, take it to a different level, where we're gonna use pallets. Okay, I've been doing some research. People are building homes with pallets. That's kind of crazy, I thought. So I'm gonna try and use that to minimize the cost of building the pig pen. Because I'm funding myself, from savings and stuff, and I just want to see if this really works, and then maybe I can take it to my parents who live in Michigan, and do this too over there. So yeah, thanks.
I'll open up to the audience. You can ask any question you want me to have. Is there any question?
What are you feeding the pigs?
What are you guys feeding your pigs?
I feed some store feed or so, but when I collect like a papaya, off-grade papaya and sweet potato, you hardly really need to buy store-bought feed. But then lately I'm really busy, so I have to buy store-bought feed. But then I always add equal amount of greens from my yard, like kabocha leaves and whatever the greens I can gather. And she loves the greens. Also, my friend brought me some macadamia nuts, so I gave that also. And then tilapia fish, when it's market, then we throw them in there too. So it doesn't cost that much, really. If you able to gather some off-grade products free, and it wouldn't cost anything, really.
We've been experimenting with feeding our pigs, and we've gone through a bunch of different ways of feeding them depending on how busy I am. When we first started, we were actually taking the store-bought pig food, mixing it with greens. Usually we grew some white sweet potato and use that for greens. We just keep cutting them as they grew out their bounds. We cut off the growing shoots, mix it in with the with the store-bought pig feed, and then we'd spray fish amino acids, IMO, and let it ferment overnight and feed that to the pigs. It was warm by the next morning. Actually, it would actually cook some of the sweet potato leaves by the next morning. The pigs went crazy for that, but it was a lot of work for me. And when I'm building the barn, I just ran out of energy for doing that and building the barn. So now we feed them. The sows are getting 4.5 pounds of pig food from the store. They're getting at least a pound or two every day of greens. Right now we're cutting sun hemp. We've grown it as a green manure crop for our sugar cane, but I'm also cutting it at 1.5 foot high, round and round and round, so I'm getting it continuously. We also feed them hono grass, sweet potato leaves, banana leaves, any kind of green like that. And we also feed them the coconut. Our friends, all of our neighbors keep collecting coconuts for me now. And so I split them in half with a machete and leave them for the pigs. And the pigs, they'll stop eating anything else you feed them and go for the coconut. And they scoop it out with their lower teeth. They just clean the whole coconut out. So I don't have to husk it or anything, just split it in half, throw it in there, give them a half a coconut a day. It really seems to satisfy some craving probably for fat that they need in their diet. And at some point I will be growing more of our own food, and I still want to ferment it because I think the pigs were a whole lot more satisfied with the food once I fermented it overnight, the 12 hours and 24 hours with the IMO and the fish amino acids. The fish amino acids have lots of extra enzymes and the parts of the protein that may be missing from all the plants that we're going to feed them. And so I think that's going to be an important part of the diet. Thanks.
We're probably one of the very few vegetarian operations. We feed some protein with soybean, we feed IMO3, we feed the vegetable trim-offs from the operation that we're running on the 9 acres. All the vegetable trim-off that comes off that goes to the pigs. We feed banana stumps and a ton of sweet basil.
Tasty pork.
Yeah, I can't afford the feed, so I don't know if you guys know halikoa. We feed that a lot. My mom told me we feed that to the pigs before it gets slaughtered or whatever. It makes the meat really tasty, really good. We've been fortunate on the property. We have mangoes. So anything we can't reach by pull, whatever falls on the ground, we feed it. Again, that's seasonal, so we're lucky right now. And then papayas when we can. You know, talking to Pat, he was telling me go hook up with somebody, because on his property he has this mountains of bread, moldy bread that feeds the pigs. I don't know how nutritious that is, but banana stumps. In fact, there's this. I'm gonna try and hook up with this farmer in Hubbel. Once they harvest the bananas, the stumps. I had like 2 big stumps. Maybe 4 from my cousin's house. I gave it to the pigs, and I would say in about a day and a half, I don't know where it went. There's no trace. Seriously, it's gone. I don't know. And then, shoot, what else? Oh, my kids and their friends, they decided to have a picnic. So they picked the avocados that were not ripe. So of course I was mad. But then I was like, why am I mad? So I threw it in the pigs. It was gone after a couple hours. And they weren't even ripe. Shoot, what else? So yeah, like I said, we don't buy greens. I don't know if you guys know it's called popolo. It's a Hawaiian herb, and then pualele. It's flower that kind of like that flower that they blow on it and has that all that white stuff. We have that a lot on the property. We dig it, put it in our the owners where we live, the people who own the land, they said it's a herbal medicine. So, you know, she ate it in front of me, so I figured, hey, she's still alive. You know, I tried it. It's not okay. So yeah, you know, Hono grass, we don't have that where we are, but we put guinea grass as green waste on the pen in the beginning, and they seem to dig on it and chomp on it. So we have a guinea grass problem on our property. So when the mangoes are gone, I'm probably gonna try and do that. But otherwise, like what Pat was telling me, go hook up with somebody. One time I was throwing green waste at the dump, and I saw these mangoes, peary mangoes. I was so disappointed. I'm like, I actually ate one, and it was at the dump. Good, they threw them away. I don't know why. So it works. And yeah, the pigs love it. And I guess the pig has the same. I don't know, stomach linings like people, so you can handle a lot more, or maybe better. At least that's what my friend said. Raises pigs too, so they're pretty tolerant as far as the type of food, as long as I guess it's not so bad. But I mean, I've given the pigs like moldy mangoes, and they were alright.
Pat's not here. I wanted Pat to come here because I wanted to tell him a story. Pat came to the pig island to look at the piggery. And he brought his wife, okay? And we walk into the piggery, and his wife looks at me and she says, "Wow, this is amazing, Mike. Where's your water hose?" I said, "What water hose?" She said, "So you can wash down." I said, "No, this is a dry litter system. We don't wash down." And she says, "Where's your lagoon?" I said, "It's a dry litter system. There's no lagoon." And she looked at Pat and she says, "Pat, this system doesn't wash down. Do you believe it?" Pat looks at me and he says, "I don't know." She looks at Pat and she says, "Pat, from today, I am on strike. I will never wash another pen for you in my life because it takes me 5 hours a day to wash down the pens for you 800 pigs in Wayne. And I don't want to do it anymore. Either you convert to this or you wash it." Okay? So like, Pat looks at me and he goes, "I know why Mike that pen don't sting." I said, "Okay, Pat, you tell me." He said, "Because you only got 40 pigs in here, and I got 800. That's the reason why your pens don't sting." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, I have to think fast," because he totally missed the concept, yeah? So right in front of his wife, this is what I told him. "When you go home tonight, Pat, I want you walk your pens. I want you to find your very, very favorite pig. And when you find them, this is what I want you to do. I want you to build a pen right outside your wife's bedroom. Okay? You put the pig in there, and I want you to be able to look out your bedroom window and you can see that pig every day. I want you to provide food and water for it, just like anything else. But here's the catch." He said, "What's the catch, man? You don't wash that pig pen for 18 months. I said, "I guarantee within 1 week, your wife will be all over your back. Get out there and scrub that pig pen because our bedroom smells so bad." And that's what finally got to him. And he said, "Okay, I will convert." So he's converting slowly. And I wanted him to be here to tell you that story. And I remember him walking out of the pig pen and going back to his car, and I yelled at Pat, "Hey, Pat!" He told me, "What?" "You better hide your wallet." He looked at me and said, "Hide my wallet?" I said, "Yeah, you better hide your wallet." "Tell what?" I said, "Your wife gonna get so much free time now in Wayne. I guarantee she's gonna be at Ala Moana shopping center doing some mean shopping. But Pat couldn't make it today. He is a big farmer. He's got 300, at least 200 cows. And what is interesting is his son, who is going to leave the piggery, has decided to come back since they converted. So we've got some other guys in here. Mr. Chang over there. He's talking about doing 500 cows in Honolulu. It's a big one's coming down. Guys from out in Kau, they're talking about a couple of hundred cows. So this pig thing is starting to take off, mainly because everybody's worried about sustainability. Harry Kim has helped us out because before South thing, you don't have the waste management plan anymore. And to give equal time to Billy Kinuri, because it is an election year, both of them running against each other. He's the one that said 600 square feet, 20 by 30 building, no need permits. You can put them in. That's why you're starting to see a lot of these small piggeries pop up all over the Big Island right now using this system. It's a fairly popular system. Is there any other questions you want to ask producers here? But
Just one quick question. These small operations, do they all use the same fundamental design, or do they modify it?
We modify it. When you guys come to the tour tomorrow, which will start at 8:30, you come up to Komohana. We won't meet here, we'll meet at Komohana, and then we'll have like a carpool, go down to these farms so you can look at them. You'll see from a 1 sow operation to an 8 sow operation to a 50 sow operation that is, it's scalable. That's the beauty of the thing. And you'll see from bamboo being used on the bottom to albizia trees to, ohia trees, all kinds of stuff in there. And you go to Mike's place, he's been feeding all the coconuts, yeah. The coconuts is part of his base too, in the bottom of his pig pens. So it's something that we can utilize here. We don't have to go out and buy a lot of stuff, yeah. When we went to Molokai, Kim, Joe and I, it was a eye-opening experience for us because we kind of knew there was a problem there, but it was more of a people problem because they had all the La'au situation with the ranch and the homesteaders, and that island was completely divided. And I remember Molokai Ranch coming to me, he says, Mike, I'll give you 5 guys. You bring 5 guys to Molokai, you can set up your team with 5 guys. And I decided, well, I'll take 2 university-wide people, myself, and a couple of natural farmers. The first university person, I told him, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go there. I asked for the 2 stinkest piggeries they could find on Molokai. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go up there with some IMO and lab and fermented plant juice sprays, spray the pens, and come back 48 hours to see what happened. First university-wide professor looks at me and says, I'm not going with you guys. I said, why? I said, well, if the thing don't work. I said, you gotta have faith, man. The thing don't work. No. I'm not telling you, man. I can imagine all these letters coming in and I'm not gonna tell you. The second guy told me, Mike, I ain't going there because get sovereignty guys over there. I'm going to get killed if this thing don't work. I said, you 2 guys out. I go see Kim, the small little Korean girl. Hey, Kim, you in? Oh, yeah, we go, man. We go. Talk to Joe. Hey, man, we go. We get down there. We show up to the classroom, and there's 20 pig farmers there. They're all laughing because they heard what we're going to do, yeah. So we go to the first piggery. We spread the IMO, and this stunk. We started the spray. I spread the IMO. Kim mixed the sprays. Joe went behind me and sprayed. They start talking, and within half an hour, hey, this pig don't stink no more. How come? I said, I wanted 2 pigs, 2 piggeries, because I wanted to make sure that you guys never miss them the first time. Went to the same second piggery. repeat performance. I mean, one guy says, "You guys do this for chicken farms?" I said, "Well, yeah, we do it for chicken farms." "Oh, come to my chicken farm. I want you to treat my farm." So we go up to this guy's farm, and the wife just brought in the chickens from the pasture. She says, "Oh, you guys want to spray the pens?" I said, "Yeah. Let me take the chickens outside again, and I'll be back." When she came back, Joe and I had already treated the pens. She looked at me and she said, "What you guys did?" I said, "Why?" I said, "The pens smell like grape. And what do chickens smell like? What time is your workshop?" I said, "Great, tomorrow." We filled a room with 60 guys. Right now, the ranch, because of the piggery, and the community got slammed together to work together. We can build 8 small piggeries on Molokai and 1 big one at Molokai Ranch. It's coming down. So this thing, we went to Joe's place out in Kalu. We gave the workshop over there. We got 4 more commitments coming on the Kalu. So these piggeries are coming in big time. We're on our way to Kauai. Up in Kekaha, they got a piggery out there that had some problems with the University of Hawaii. I got to figure out what was the problem before I go there. But they're going to pay our way. You guys come up here, check it out. We want you to do a workshop here. And I think we can convert on that, Joe. Because that's a sovereignty to do. And we're on our way down to Danny Levin's place down in Hana. I told Joe, I promised him, I said, "Joe, 4 days, 8 Hawaiians, 1 welder. I guarantee you build a piggery for you." So, you know, this thing, I wish Maggie Bird was here because she came. This is another story. There was a group of people that came in from Virginia, right next to Salatin's place. That's where they were from. They walked into the piggery and they couldn't believe what they saw. I mean, the ladies were coming and the guys were coming off the bus. They said, "Why are we at a piggery, man? The thing would stink." They walked in there and they didn't want to leave, okay? Because their eyes was just opened up and saw all the pigs running around. But they had to go to another farm down the road. So they got in the bus, they thanked me, and one of the extension agents came up with a little hat. He says, "Here, this is our appreciation. Anytime you're in Virginia, give me a call. Here's my card. We'd like to talk to you more." So I didn't think anything. The bus left, went down the road. 2 days later, I get a phone call from Maggie Bird. She wants to visit the piggery because her 4-H, her daughter is going to raise a 4-H animal. And I said, "Okay, come." She said, "You mind if I bring a few people and go look?" I said, "No, just bring them." So she shows up. I said, "I got a white truck." She said, "She's got a blue car." Meet the blue car. I see the people pile up. And I look. And one of the guys piling out of the car got the same hat that the Virginia people gave me. And I looked at that and I said, "Oh, they went to visit your farm too?" He said, "No, I'm the bus driver. I was driving these guys all over the place." He said, "After they left your piggery, that's all they talked about all day. Went to the flower farm, piggery, piggery, piggery. Get on a flower farm, piggery, piggery, piggery. When I take them to the hotel, pick them up in the morning. Go take them to Parker Ranch. They're still talking about the piggery." So he said, "I just had to see it myself because I couldn't get out of the bus because I had to watch all the valuables." He came out of that thing. He went to the piggery. He went to visit my Hubbels. 3 days, piggery in Kale. And I wish Maggie was here because she would verify my story. They run in a 2-cell piggery and they put them up in 3 days. And they went to Hilo, the dump, to pick up the green waste. They went to KTA to buy a $10 bag worth of IMO, and the piggery was formed. So it's very, very simple. It's not that hard. My ultimate goal is to get a piggery in everybody's farm in Keoka and Paneava, because there is a piggery in everybody's yard in Keoka. And when I go to Honolulu, Dr. Fopoli tells me, we got the pigs under control. We're going to control them through the rabies. I look at him and I start laughing because I said, I don't think so. Kim and I know. We laugh when we hear that. Because everybody in Keoka and everybody in Paneava, we have backyard pigs. Okay?
I have a question. Sort of,
Sure.
to take the system to, say, a small chicken coop, how deep do you have to make that?
Okay. Chicken coop is only 2 to 3 inches.
Okay.
You don't have to go that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IMO,
That's
and
it.
then I can get shredded paper from the
Yeah,
office,
that's it.
and then just keep up to the shredded paper and add ingredients.
No shredded paper. Weeds.
Or straw.
Okay.
Or wood chips.
Okay.
Something like that.
Because they're ink, yeah, the paper, don't use that.
I'd like to take this opportunity to kind of challenge you guys. Let me digress a little and just try to paint a picture for you. If we dug a hole and I put 1 wheelbarrow of chicken manure, which is hazardous waste, 1 wheelbarrow of cow manure, also hazardous waste, 1 wheelbarrow of pig manure, hazardous waste, and I also dump, just to make sure we're doing everything really bad, 55 gallons of gasoline and 55 gallons of diesel, which is toxic. And just to make sure I covered all bases, I want to put 1 bucket full of nails so we cover all the iron deficiencies. And put some brown rice vinegar, sugar, and to cover everything with natural farming, I'll put cinnamon sticks, angelica, ginger, all the nice things. Then I cover this hole up with maybe 6 inches of dirt, and I plant an orange tree on top of this thing. What happens to this orange tree? You guys know it's going to grow great. So the question really is, after this tree gives oranges, can you eat it? And the answer is absolutely yes. Is there any E. coli in there? Absolutely none. So how did this happen? So that's kind of like how you got to kind of look at natural farming. Okay. So if you can just keep that picture in your head and try to challenge yourself with it. Okay, the other thing is, how many of you own one of these? Well, a lot of you guys own it, but you guys don't want to own up to it. I have 2 brilliant sons who write software. And so they're always coming home and telling me, Dad, you got to get one of these things. Or you got to get a smartphone. Or you got to do this, you got to do that. And I kind of never wanted to touch one of these things because, 1, you got to learn some new things to make this thing work. And it's rather intimidating. So they come back home and they say, Dad, did you get one yet? No. What's the problem? We can teach you. Well, and then you start thinking, I don't know. And then a year later they came back and said, Dad, here's the machine. We're going to coach you. So for 2 days they coached me, and in the process they, because they're programmers, they can program all the stuff that I use right into this thing. And once you start learning it and actually work it, you find that it's a tremendous benefit. Okay, now the point I'm trying to drive at is I have no idea how this works. I don't know. I don't know what hardware it uses. I don't know what processor it uses. I don't even know how big the RAM is. And I'm not even sure which version it is. All I know is this thing is fantastic. When you're working with natural farming, we got to take it to the next step. We're working with things that we don't quite totally understand, and you're taking a step in faith to some degree, similar to how you take a step with this. But you got to realize that it is cutting edge technology. And it's very difficult to realize that it's cutting edge technology. You're dealing with something that is alive. You know, with these things, you can actually fly a drone. You can fly a drone in this room and it flies by itself. I mean, you just tilt. I mean, they got software adaptations where you can just tilt and drive the drone or helicopter around the room and not crash anything. That's how fantastic and powerful this thing is. The point I'm driving at is the microorganisms are alive. So when you work it in the ground, it's alive. And guess what? The learning curve on one generation of this is 16 weeks. It's hard to understand what 16 weeks can do, but in 16 weeks, it turns 4 generations in 1 year. That's how fast the technology in this thing is moving, and that's why they can create such fantastic things. Like they can transfer satellite things and GPS right into your smartphone, right into this. Microorganisms turn 1 generation in 1 day. That's 365 generations in 1 year. So this thing is alive. It's in the ground, it's sensing faster than you can sense. And guess what? It works 365 days a year, and it doesn't care if it sleeps, and it doesn't care about whether it's daytime or nighttime. It's still working. The focus on natural farming is to create the environment so it can survive and you can utilize it. That's cutting edge. We don't have any other thing that is this far advanced. We gotta take the position of trying to figure out how to use it, how to maximize the benefits. Now let me take one more giant step further in front. Natural farming is a system that can be used. But the biggest thing that I think we all are not focusing on is wellness. If you Google nutrient-dense products, nutrient-dense foods, you will find an amazing array of information regarding human health. That's the next big frontier that we're going to get into. Nutrient-dense foods are really helping the human body self-correct. Just like parts of natural farming help the ground self-correct, helps the pigs and the animals that we're working with self-correct. Nutrient-dense foods does the same thing to our bodies. Why is this important? It's because we are running a health system based on reaction. We are running a farming system based on reaction. We're not going forward. We're not being proactive. If we're not careful, we're going to have a kidney dialysis facility in every shopping center. Because what are the crucial elements in your body that's the body's filter? Kidney, liver, pancreas, and your lungs. Where are the health problems coming up really fast? All of those areas. So when you're dealing with natural farming, you are able to produce nutrient-dense products that's very clean. You're producing plants that are higher in antioxidants, higher in minerals, higher in vitamins, no pesticides, no herbicides, no hydrocarbon compounds. When you're producing animal products, you're producing animal products that have no hormones, no antibiotics, and no vaccines. So just think about this. Which comes first? Nutrient-dense foods, clean product, health.
guys want to take that question?
What's that?
This term natural product is based on iron.
I'm not quite sure, what did you say now?
The term natural products.
Or like the natural farming products that we're using?
Yes.
Or that we're producing? Natural farming, we're using it as the Korean natural farming. We're following what the guy in Korea taught us. Natural farming to people across America means different things right now, and there's no government standard for natural farm food, as far as I know. They're looking into making one maybe, but right now we're under the Korean natural farming, and we're just following his methods.
Okay, because you're all using the term natural farming.
Right, and that's a generic term that doesn't have
That
any.
basically mean no chemical fertilizers,
Right now, what
no steroids.
natural farming can mean anything to anybody right now because it's not really been defined, but it's basically, like you said, it's kind of like organic farming, but organic farming is defined and this isn't defined. But we're using the Korean natural farming, which is defined by Master Cho.
So Korean natural farming, there's a no chemical. It's 100% natural. So the one input we call it, actually you can say fertilizer, but we don't say fertilizer because we say as input because you can consume it. If you cannot consume it, each input, you shouldn't give it to your animal or plants. So it's totally safe.
So you wouldn't use animal manure as a fertilizer.
When we make IMO 5, indigenous microorganism number 5, that one we don't consume because we put animal manure in there. Yeah, but it's fermented. It's a safe product. Only that one we don't consume, but otherwise we consume everything. Even liquid IMO 4 we
Manure has
consume.
always been a good fertilizer compared to chemical fertilizer. That's why
Yes.
I'm asking.
Yes.
If you're
Because
eliminating-
yes, we are not like David Wong said. Our fertilizer and input is living thing, so it make give a life. Even totally depleted soil, you back to the life. Like a chemical fertilizer is just kills everything.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So it's a totally opposite way, 180 degree different. The one that Dr. Wang's report, that's what she is trying to tell you. That what soil became in living thing. Yeah. Any questions? Any other questions?
Let's have a good hand for our panel. I'll turn it over to Dr. Kim Kazuma. She's going to talk to you a little bit about what's been happening with the swine flu.